everyone, welcome to Quarantine Kitchen. I'm Stephanie Weaver here in San Diego, California, and I have a special guest today. This is Ricki Heller, and Ricki's in Toronto, correct?
Just north of Toronto, yeah.
Just north of Toronto. So we're going to be making a recipe from rickiheller.com. I'm going to set Ricki down here so she can actually see what I'm doing. Ricki is the author of an amazing book called Living Candida Free, as well as one of my favorite specialty baking books, Naturally Sweet and Gluten-Free, which I have sitting back here. And today we're making one of Ricki's recipes. How many recipes do you have on your website?
Close to 900 at this point.
Close to 900 people, so plenty of plant-based options for you. I chose something that's going to be super simple. It's almond-crusted root vegetable fries. The reason I chose it is because it can be, many things can be swapped out, and there's only basically 4 ingredients. So there's some kind of seed or nut butter. I'm using sunflower seed butter today. Ricki's original recipe calls for almond butter, correct? Yep. And then root vegetables, we're going to talk about those in a minute. So we're doing carrots. I've got potatoes about to come out of the oven. And then olive oil, and then a little bit of salt, and then some spices of your choice. So so let's kind of get into this. So how did you develop this recipe?
Well, as you know, I have been dealing with Candida for a long time. So I think that recipe was closer to the beginning of my journey with Candida, and I was just looking for ways to eat food that tasted more interesting, because you know what you can eat, but people get really bored of eating the same thing over and over. So I had this idea to make sweet potato fries and drizzle them with almond butter. Why do that? Why not just try baking them in a coating of almond butter and see what happens?
Awesome.
So I did, and I added my favorite spices, and there you go. That's how it turned out. And then we ended up loving them so much that's lost now.
That's great. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to talk for a minute about root vegetables. So root vegetables are any part of the plant that grows underground. The most common ones are carrots and potatoes and sweet potatoes. But tell us what some other root vegetables are that this recipe would work for.
Some of my favorites are parsnips, which are they look like white carrots, and they're a little bit sweet when you bake them. I love parsnips. Turnips are considered root vegetables, and I'm not a huge fan of turnips. I don't find that they have that much flavor, but when they're baked, they kind of caramelize and become a little sweeter, and especially if you coat them, they're delicious. Oh, those look beautiful. I've used rutabaga for this recipe as well. And then the other one that just recently, radishes are root vegetables. And I gotta say, I'm not a huge fan of radishes either, but when they're actually baked, I really, really like them. So you could use really any of those. Celery root is another one. I think you mentioned kohlrabi before, which I haven't tried this with kohlrabi, but if you like kohlrabi, I'm sure it would work.
So those are actually organic Yukon Gold potatoes coated with the mixture. And for those, I actually used chili powder and a little bit of salt. And we're going to talk a minute about, so we're going to get this next batch going, and the next batch is going to be, and then those will be cool enough for me to taste test, because I've actually never made this recipe before, so we're all making it together with Ricki. So I've got some carrots, and I cut into sort of long, skinny sticks, and the goal would be for them to all be about the same size, right?
Yeah, ideally. And I was going to say, I didn't see your potatoes, but also I find that I like them a little bit well-baked, so they start to get really brown and crispy on the outside.
Okay.
Because, if you've ever made oven fries, I use sweet potatoes most often, but with sweet potato oven fries, if they're not really well done, then they're almost mushy, right?
Yeah.
Potatoes probably wouldn't have that, regular potatoes probably wouldn't have that problem, but I just like them a little bit more.
So, sounds like I could put these in, so these were in for about 38 minutes. I can see that on the backs, on the underside, they're getting pretty nice and toasty. So the other thing might be that you can check, you want to make sure that they're at least fork tender, meaning that the fork goes all the way through. But I don't know how well you can see, either of you.
They look good to me. I guess it depends on your own taste.
On your taste, yeah. So I could put them in for a couple more minutes because I want to taste test them and not have them burn my mouth. I want to let it sit out on the stove while we make up this next batch. So let me just show the sheet pan options. So this is a sort of standard regular old cookie sheet. This would be fine to use. This would be okay, but not less ideal just because it doesn't have a complete rim around the edge. So it's got these little areas, but this would probably be fine for this recipe because there's not going to be a lot of moisture coming off the vegetables. And then, or if you have what we call this is a half sheet pan, and I happen to have silicone mats that are reusable for these kind of for this kind of baking. But if people don't, could they use aluminum foil, Ricki, to coat the? Yeah, they could do. Sure. Foil is probably what most people would have, and then parchment paper. If you've got parchment paper, that would also be an option. And that's what Ricki uses. Yeah. Okay, so we've got 3 tablespoons of sunflower seed butter in the bowl, and but what we said earlier, you can use whatever you've got in the house: peanut butter, cashew butter, almond butter. And then we're going to do 1 tablespoon, right, of extra virgin olive oil.
I mean, if you like tahini, some people love the taste of tahini, which is sesame seed butter. Yep. Go for it, right?
Okay. Oh, that's a great thought because I just made hummus yesterday. Okay, and then so a little bit of salt. So your recipe calls for, I think, half a teaspoon. Is that right?
I don't even.
Yeah, I think it's half a teaspoon. I'm going to use a quarter just because I'm on a low sodium diet. But also, if your nut butter is salty, you don't need to use as much salt. So just kind of be aware of that. And then I'm going to use cumin because I love cumin with carrots. I think it's a great combo. And if they did curry powder or any of those other types of things, it would be about a teaspoon, right?
Yeah, and what I tend to do, because I'm just wacky this way, I tend to mix them. So I'll use a little bit of each. One of the ones that I listed was the Chinese 5-spice, which I just adore. But, it's got cinnamon and cloves and a whole bunch of stuff. So honestly, almost anything goes here. If you have, and you could do this with herbs too, really. But what I find is the ground spices mix well with the seed butter.
Fantastic. And my only note would be, like, if it happens to be a spice blend that includes salt, then I would not add the salt until you've tasted how salty this mixture is. Because, like, if you buy, like, a regular Chinese 5-spice powder, it can be very, very salty and might even have MSG in it. So I want to just show you how nice and thin that's gotten. And that's what we're going to pour over the vegetables to get them. And then we're going to coat them with, and I found when I did the first batch that this type of spatula was a really good option to kind of get everything in the nooks and crannies.
Is that a silicone spatula?
It's a silicone spatula, yeah.
That's what I use. And I find it works the best too.
Yeah.
It's the same concept as, like, if you just were to drizzle them with olive oil and toss them to get coated. That's really what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and you're trying to just get all, every surface coated with this yummy goodness, which is adding healthy fats. It's adding some protein, and Ricki is escaping carrot. And Ricki, you're completely plant-based, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so tell us a little bit about the Candida diet, the anti-Candida diet, because I think that'll be interesting for people who don't really know what that is. While I'm getting these set up on the tray here.
So, Candida, diagnosis of Candida nowadays. I mean, if you're using the alternative definition, is that you have an overgrowth of yeast in the digestive tract usually, and or they call it dysbiosis, and it just I don't know if you can see my little dog in the background.
Oh yeah.
She wants to leave. So if you have too much yeast, you can have all kinds of typical yeast symptoms like yeast infections or athlete's foot, which is fungal related. So it's fungal and yeast overgrowth. And the way that they deal with that is twofold. It's primarily changing your diet and also taking supplements and or prescription drugs that kill yeast and fungus. So the diet is very restrictive initially. It cuts out anything that is a sugar or converts easily to sugar, as well as all highly allergenic foods. So basically you're eating a lot of vegetables, very, very low sugar fruits, whole grains. Some diets allow grains, some don't. So mine did. Whole grains and if you eat meats and poultry and eggs and stuff like that, but you can't have regular dairy. I'm trying to think if there's most nuts and seeds. My diet eliminates pistachios and peanuts because those are the highest mold. But you really can't escape mold on nuts and seeds and dried beans and legumes because they all have some mold. So we just went with eliminating the ones that had the highest mold.
Okay.
And, yeah, no processed foods, nothing artificial, no artificial colorings, no artificial sweeteners, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So it's a pretty restrictive diet, but I've been doing this for like 20 years now, and it really isn't. It isn't that difficult, especially since keto became popular, because now there are so many products that are grain-free, sugar-free, all of those things.
Yeah, I think so I'm not on this particular plan. I'm on my migraine relief plan. But I've been gluten-free and primarily processed sugar-free for 15 years. And, those of us who do live this way, you do get used to it. One of the things that's so great about Ricki's website, which has so many recipes, mine has, there's Daisy, gets very excited during these, so we have to keep her occupied. I have almost 400 recipes on my website, migrainereliefrecipes.com. And so, what we do as recipe developers is try really hard to come up with inventive ways to give you lots of options, regardless of what your restrictions are, so that you don't feel like you're living in a restricted way. And of course, we're all living in a restricted way right now with COVID-19. So I really, even Ricki and I are still following our regular, normal way of eating. And we're also eating fantastic, delicious food. So I'm going to set you back down, put these in the oven. So what I did was I made sure they were not touching each other. And then those are going to go in the oven for 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 35 minutes. And I'm just going to set this. And then I'm going to check them and kind of see, are they nice and crispy? Are they, fork tender? And just make sure that, apparently I might actually need a new battery in there. I'll do that when we're finished. So so that's basically what we wanted to share today. I'm going to go ahead and taste these so you can get my reaction to them. But also just want to let you know, you can follow both of us we're on every social media platform. You're at Ricki Heller, correct?
Pretty much, yeah.
RICKIHELLER. Check out rickiheller.com. Follow me, SWeaver MPH, which stands for not miles per hour, although that could be what it stands for, but it's actually Masters of Public Health. Oh my. Wow. Okay, I have not made these before. So what I'm getting is slightly crispy outside, so I could have left them in longer. A very rich coating. It's very nice and chewy inside.
It's almost like a breading, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like
It is very much like a breading. So these were a little bit of sea salt and the chili powder, which is working really well with the potato combo. And it almost tastes like when you order, if you go to fast food at all, and you order those curly fries that have that coating, that's kind of the texture that you're getting, but super healthy, right? Because these are all whole foods ingredients. You're controlling the amount of salt you're getting. I'm excited to eat the rest of these.
I hadn't thought of the curly fries comparison. That's a great comparison.
Yeah, because they usually have some kind of coating on them.
Yeah,
which means
they're in so many years.
Which means they're not gluten-free because they've got usually used some kind of flour. But that fried coating, now these are obviously not fried, they're oven baked, but it's really nice to still be able to make something that tastes kind of decadent and luxurious, and especially now when we're not shopping a lot and we're really all living with these restrictions simply because we're trying to not go to the store, we're trying to slow the spread, flatten the curve. So I wanted to thank Ricki for providing such a great recipe. So the recipe from her website will be in the link to this video, and I encourage you to follow her, follow me. If you enjoyed this, please share it, because we're doing this out of love for helping other people eat well during this time, and we appreciate it. And thanks, Ricki. It was great to see you.
Oh, you too. Thank you for having me.